Gamer's Garage.
Oh my God, breaking news!
I want to thank Juan Main Event Zabarini for this breaking news. It appears that in the world of Tekken, that the top 16 players on the points list are planning a boycott in Rally because they're being forced to sign the contract to compete in the event. And it appears the Koreans won't sign it because their league in Korea stipulates that they wouldn't be able to compete or can have any other kind of contract. I know some of the players have contacted Filthy Rich to see what can be done. I remember way back after MLG Meadowlands in 2007, it was in an AIM chat room that a lot of people were presented with an MLG contract. And I remember when I got all the Gears of War players together and we wanted to talk about it. What happened was MLG immediately invaded the chat room, pretended to be parents, and tried to, in some ways, discredit me to get the players to sign the contract. Ever since then, the whole Pro Players Association, Ray, all of them, I've had zero respect for. My advice to the Tekken players, my advice to any gamers, don't sign contracts. Major League Gaming can't survive without you. They need top players. And if they're not going to pay you, screw their contract. They should never own you. I don't know what's going to happen with this, but like I said, that's the rumor. Thank you, Main Event, for sharing it. And I encourage the Tekken players to boycott Raleigh. Heck, as you're going to find out in this show, there's some Halo players who are not too happy and not thinking about not attending Raleigh. And you're going to find out why right now.
Can't stop the train, baby. Woo!
I'd like to welcome everybody to the 26th round of VVV's The Losers Bracket. As always, hosted by the Gamers Garage. Thank you, Crash. And we're going to jump right into esports news since we came off of our 25th anniversary show where we had a lot of fun and now we got a lot of news. We're going to start with Major League Gaming. Two big items coming out of Major League Gaming. First one is they're selling to Curse, the website MMO Champion. The second one is significant changes to the MLG Pro Circuit in the middle of the season. Out of the bat, here's what I'm going to say. One, I think MLG is in money trouble. Two, I think they're in deep shit because I tell you what, nobody seems to like the changes to the pro circuit. With that being said, I want you to pay close attention to what changes have been made to this pro circuit. Justin, Spike Mom, talk to me. What are they saying?
There will no longer be a fifth national championship event. Instead, what they're doing is they're changing it all up. Doritos has stepped it up by allowing MLG to come into their Combine event and host a 44-team Halo 3 Pro Circuit event. At the Combine in DC, you'll have the Halo 3 Combine, which will no longer be Halo 3. Doritos has announced today that they will be holding a Halo Reach event instead. So you're going to have the Halo Reach 256-team FFA 4v4 event for the Combine, along with the Halo 3 44-team Pro Circuit event, along with Smash, World of Warcraft, and Tekken. Here's where it gets troubling. With Doritos announcing that they're going to do Halo Reach as their game now, this conflicts with Halo 3. So all the pro teams now are deciding whether or not they want to go to Halo Reach early or continue on with Halo 3. But here's the issue. MLG has come out today and announced that the Halo 3 teams that are in the top 16 right now and any person that has ever placed top 16 this season or last season cannot participate in the Combine because it's an amateur Combine event. From my point of view, I see that needs to be changed. This is a new game. This isn't Halo 3 anymore. The rule was for Halo 3 only at Combines. This is Halo Reach. So a lot of these pros now are upset at the fact that they have to get stuck with playing Halo 3 at these events when they want to get on Halo Reach and start playing that. With DC coming up and only 44 teams can play, only one team out of those 44 teams is going to have that 8th seeded spot for the national championship, which will be held in Dallas instead. So a lot of issues going on with MLG, a lot of people not liking it, and they're getting a lot of feedback right now and a lot of disrespect for it.
Well, I think it's really interesting that they're kind of combining the pro events with the Combine. As Jerry said at the beginning of the show, doesn't that seem kind of like they're trying to scale back a little bit, maybe money issues abound? I can't imagine why, after saying, oh, we're going to have this many events, it's going to be this awesome, it sounds like maybe the attendance issue was finally starting to catch up with them, how all these amateur players were just going to the Combine. It was really affecting how many people were at the actual official MLG events. I see this more as damage control on the part of MLG. And at the same time that they're doing this damage control, they're creating more damage by the problems you just heard Justin talking about, the Reach Halo 3 debacle going on.
It's a lot about Halo, but you also have to realize a lot of this is going into the other games too. Both Smash Bros. And Tekken 6 will feature an open bracket plus a championship bracket with 16 players. You have to remember Smash Bros. And I believe Tekken had random seeding at Orlando. Already from the beginning of the season, a lot of the seedings and a lot of the people that were in the top 16 was skewed. So people who may have an opportunity to get into the championship bracket may not have if Orlando didn't have random seeding. So that sort of like brings in the fact that Orlando was sort of fucked up, and now we have this whole craziness going on. That's going to still carry over to the other events that aren't Halo, considering that now we have Halo Reach, which is throwing another game into the mix, and now World of Warcraft, which is just showing up, which didn't start at Orlando. It's a lot of chaos, and a lot of people are really, really confused.
Well, on top of all that being said, their seeding for the next year is going to be interesting. What they're doing is the top 8 teams at the National Championship for Halo 3 are going to have the top 8 seeds at the first event in 2011 for Halo Reach. The top 8 teams that place in Dallas for the Reach exhibition, the top 4 of them will split a $7,500 pool, but then those top 8 teams will be the 9 through 16 seeded teams for the first event of Halo Reach. On top of that, whoever wins the Combine Finals out of the amateur teams will have pro status all next year. So it doesn't even have to be a team. Just those 4 members will have pro status all next year. On top of that, their ranking points are going to be weird. The way it's going to work is that the top 8 teams for each game will share points. So whatever the first place team gets at the Reach exhibition, those amount of points are also given to the first place team at the National Championship for Halo 3. So that means there's going to be a tie for first through 8th seed pretty much. Say you have Instinct winning the National Championship and you have an amateur team winning the Reach exhibition. Those 2 teams are going to have the same amount of rank points, but they're going to be completely different sides of the bracket. One's going to be the first seed, one's going to be the 9th seed. I think that's totally unfair, honestly.
To be honest, I think there's nothing about this that is good. I mean, I'm sure they're doing it to cut corners. But I want to analyze real quick. For anybody who has glossed over it, this is why Major League Gaming sort of upsets me. It's because we actually read what they do. It says the 2010 season has already proven to be an incredible ride. No, it fucking hasn't. It hasn't been an incredible ride. Tekken has been boring as hell. You don't have chairs for anybody. It's not an incredible ride. And it's only going to get better from here? It's not getting better. Cutting the number of events you have? No. Maybe you should just come forward and admit the fact that the Combine was a failure and not a good idea. We have found a way to begin using it as a competition title immediately after launch while still maintaining the integrity and fairness of the Halo 3 Pro Circuit season. No, you haven't. Yeah, you got to get to play Halo Reach, but that's like using the excuse to cover up the failure. And we're thrilled to be able to begin holding Halo Live Reach competition in 2010. You know, it's a great marketing way to spin it, but at the end of the day, you tell me, Justin, why would any team even bother to go to Rally then? I mean, it doesn't seem like the rest of the Halo 3 Pro Circuit matters.
That's the thing. From my point of view, if I was on an amateur team, I would save that pass I just purchased for Raleigh and use it towards DC or Dallas. Now, this is going to be open exhibition, and everyone that goes to Raleigh has a guaranteed pass to the next event. But the thing is, who's going to want to spend an extra $240 for a team pass? Why not just save that? Because what's the point of going? You're not going to get pro in Halo 3, and there's no point of even bothering with points. So you save that pass, you go to DC or Dallas, and you win those, or you place well, and then you get a seed for next year. There's no point in spending the money now. Honestly, Raleigh's going to probably have less than 100 teams going because nobody's going to want to go and put up with the bullshit.
No, I don't blame you. You know what? Actually, now that I think about it, though, Rapture, doesn't this screw over the brawlers, too? I mean, I don't know about you, but as far as I know, Apex, SuperCon, there's all kinds of things going on, and now out of the blue, MLG magically plucks an extra event out? I mean, that seems to me like now the Brawl and Tekken, the fighters end up getting screwed because, you know, I don't know about you, but most people I know budget their expenses, and all of a sudden, oh, yeah, by the way, here's another event.
Thankfully for Smash Bros., we've been working without MLG for a while. Apex has still been a bigger Smash event than MLG has, and it's going to be. I think a lot of people are going to be heading towards Apex that way, but a lot of people like to play at more than one tournament. A lot of people want to go to Apex, then MLG, then SuperCon, whatever the case may be. But now you have this thrown in here. As much as everybody wants to go to as many tournaments as they can, money doesn't grow on trees. And if you want to go to Apex and then this, it hurts the budget. It really does. And it really feels like they did this without sort of like a foresight for every other game. Tekken isn't even doing that great, and now Tekken has to deal with this. World of Warcraft just showed up, and they have to deal with this. Smash Bros. Is there, but it's really not as much as Halo is, and now that has to deal with it. As much as we want to sort of see the optimism in it, there really isn't a lot of it, and unfortunately, we still have to deal with it because it's finalized as far as we know.
What hasn't been mentioned yet is these events, MLG DC to MLG Dallas, they're less than 3 weeks apart from each other. Now, the way you got to look at it is, who's going to want to spend that kind of money to go to those events in that time period? It takes people like 2.5 months to even save up for their plane ticket and part of the hotel to get to the event, never mind trying to do it within 3 weeks. What are the odds that all these pro teams are going to want to go to DC to compete? Why not just wait the 3 weeks and then go? Because not all pro teams have sponsors. They pay for this out of their pocket as well. A lot of these teams might not even go. They might just wait till the next event and play Dallas, which means they might lose their pro seed. But then you're going to have a bunch of amateur teams get bumped up to the top 16, and that's going to cause them to not be able to participate in the DC Combine. So there's going to be a lot of issues here. MLG's kind of screwed themselves because they didn't think about this from the pros aspect, because they might not even show up. I know that a lot of these lower 16 teams might not even make it because they don't want to spend over $1,000 within 3 weeks. That's pointless.
I often wonder to myself, do you really consider the actual experience of the players and fans? Maybe this benefits MLG staff. Maybe this benefits a few Halo pros. Maybe that's the extent of it. I've always felt that MLG is like their top Halo players and everything else. And now all of a sudden it seems to me like, and I'm going to just sort of talk out loud here, if Halo players don't really see Raleigh as worthwhile, VV Gaming may just not go. I'd rather support the Brawlers at Apex than spend another dollar at an MLG event. To be honest, we'll be in D.C. for the Washington event, but we're actually going to have our VVV meet and greet at Club District there. So, I'll hardly show up for that. So to me, in a lot of ways, the whole season is a wash. And not only that, I found it interesting. We've talked about how little turnout there is for Tekken. And then at the end of it, in Dallas, they're going to do Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, but on what platform? The PlayStation 3. And I'm telling everybody who's listening, the reason it's on the PlayStation 3 is because there aren't enough Tekken players to use them all. They have those excess PlayStation 3s, so they do Modern Warfare 2. Now, why this is important? From the time that Major League Gaming sort of made its famous statement in the New York Times trying to say that it all begins with one league, our league, I've seen, Major League Gaming on G4, always the same claim. We are the source of competitive gaming. We are the ones that know all the best stuff. No, here's where your smack talk meets reality, right? Here's where all of that bravado, all of that, these are still a bunch of Halo kids at heart, right? These aren't really savvy business people. At the end of the day, they're having to make really difficult business decisions, and they don't know how to tell it to people. So they did what I thought, whoever wrote the opening paragraph of this announcement was sort of like, it's like watching Fox News. It's like somebody who just spins something to spin it, and it doesn't matter what the truth is. And I thought I'd give them a lot of credit for that, because there are enough people who will purchase it. But the nice part is once enough Halo players sort of start to dissect this and see what it means, I think they'll come to the same conclusion you did, Justin, which is, you know what? This is crap. For all of you out there, and I get this all the time, is MLG really that bad? Look, I know you want to believe Major League Gaming. Trust me, I do too. I want to see us have great gaming in North America. I am just as passionate about competition as the next person. But Major League Gaming, I do not believe is the answer. And sadly, and this is the other thing that pisses me off about Major League Gaming, do you know how much harder it is for another company to go out there and get money when you have Championship Gaming Series failing? And it's almost like if Major League Gaming fails, that'll be a second nail in the coffin that makes investors really hesitant to invest in companies that want to do something like this. And this is why if you come to the playing arena before things are ready, you can make some really big failures. And speaking of really big failures, I want to transition to another thing, and that is bringit.com. For those of you that don't know, last week we talked about Virgin Gaming coming onto the scene, and it was one of these other places for 18 and up players who basically wanted to bet on things. Well, today we received an email from Bring It, and it basically said the following. After a productive 2-year journey, Bringit.com will no longer facilitate console video game challenges. That means you can't bet on console games anymore. It says video game competitions are heading in a new direction, and Bringit is on the forefront of developing the latest technology. No, they're not. So this is more bullshit that companies spill out. The effort requires all of our attention, energy, and resources. No, again, it probably does actually require all your attention, energy, and resources, but this isn't a lot of people. Therefore, Bringit.com will close down its destination site for console gaming 7/23/2010 as a result. So that means tomorrow will be the last day. All accounts in good standing can request a withdrawal until August 23rd to a verified PayPal account. So if you've got any money in Bringit.com, that means you answer. Get it out of there. Bringit will no longer be processing paper checks for withdrawals. Any unclaimed funds after August 23rd, 2010 will be unable to withdraw. I hope somebody gets a lawyer actually and sues them, because this is one of those where, they don't want to do paper checks, probably for financial reasons. But when you signed up, I probably didn't mean you had to have a verifiable PayPal account. They gave you an option. So if a dozen people got together, sue them to the ground, destroy them. This is exactly the kind of crap I want to see out of here. We'd like to thank our loyal users for. I've been to your site. You hardly have any loyal users. Please visit us again soon to see the next generation of Bring It. Again, this is the problem. The problem is that you have more people who have egos and want to sort of win and just make money, and they don't understand their audience. They don't understand gamers. They actually don't understand how people who are competitive actually game. And, my advice to Major League Gaming, very simply put, is if they would just hold tournaments, get sponsors, and sign checks, they would have been a lot better off than what they do. And with Bringit.com, which is no MLG by any stretch of the means, same thing. Trying to sort of introduce a way to bet on games, I'm not a fan.
If you guys have not had the chance, click above the shout box. Part 2 of the Steelseries interview that VV Gaming has done with Kim Rom, the CMO of Steelseries, is up there. The interview continues right where Part 1 left off, and Kim Rom begins to talk a little bit about how much love, how much passion goes into making Steelseries products. When you hear him talk about the effort that was put into developing the 7G keyboard and their first mousepad, it's absolutely unreal. It gives me an entirely new respect for the headphones that I have on my head currently, actually. And just to know the people that are behind the products, it's absolutely awesome. I recommend everyone go and check it out. Please leave us comments, feedback. You'll also get to see Part 3 next week, so keep an eye out for that.
I love Kim Rom. You want to know why I love Kim Rom? Is because he doesn't make products just to make products. He doesn't that's not what he does. He knows the benefits of it. He wants to have those benefits there. That's what I like about it. He doesn't make a product and it's all right, well, it'll be fine. We'll just send it out and whatever. It makes it not only more believable when he does show the products that Steelseries comes out with, but people are more inclined to say, well, you know what? Maybe this is legitimate and maybe this is something I want to, invest my money in. When we have a company like Steelseries and people like Kim Rom doing great things for gaming, the potential is endless.
With Kim Rom and the rest of the employees at Steelseries, they understand gamers. They know what they want, and they specialize in making products to fit players' needs. If people like that could run leagues and tournaments, esports will get huge. And these are the only guys in business that understand what the gamers need. And I haven't used the Steelseries product yet, but it's honestly convinced me to go out and buy it because I know that they're specializing in making us happy, and that's what I love about it.
I think it's the part of the video that, when I heard it the first time, you're in the middle of an interview and you just make a mental note of it. But it's when I come back to it, right before the interview, I asked Steelseries to get a 7G keyboard so that I already had the mouse, I already had the headset, but I hadn't had a keyboard. I wanted to go into the interview with it. And the minute that I started using the 7G keyboard, this thing's like a tank, first of all. I mean, it's dense. That's the best word to describe it. It's dense. The WASD keys, it's so hard to explain if you never had it. The feel of the keyboard is unlike anything else. And in the editing, Kim Rom responds to something that I say about the feel of the 7G. But it's when he says, and he's talking about StarCraft players, he's specifically talking about some of the Asian StarCraft pros, 420 actions per minute. I want you to think about that for a minute. And this is what Kim Rom and the team gets. They're not making video game toys. Steelseries doesn't make stuff for randoms. It's not a fucking Chevy. It's making a Formula One race car for people who actually know how to drive at that speed. That's the difference. And when you see the passion, it's like, I know that Kim Rom has watched Top Gamer's game because he's talking about the same things I see when I get passionate about when I'm watching somebody and go, wow, they're just phenomenal. And that's what's in their product. When it comes to having partners, I love having Steelseries because the people there, the products they make, if you don't own something by Steelseries, here's what you have. You either, one, have some shitty Turtle Beach piece of crap that you use because it was the only cheap alternative to Astros, which you couldn't afford. If you do have a pair of Astros, they fucking break all the time, and the only reason that you use them is because if they do break at an MLG event, some Astro rep will come and replace it. Tritons aren't going to work because you have to plug them in, and they're heavy. And then you come to like the Siberia V2s or the 7H. This is like masterpiece. It's like the 7G keyboard, and it's just like the mouse, the XAI. They're just amazing to use. And people, like, oh, is it really that good? Yes. If you want a mouse that looks good, just get a Razer that glows green or glows blue, just like your friggin' keyboard that glows. And then you be the little nerd in your basement going, look at my keyboard, it glows. For me, I don't need a fucking neon or some other, like, cool little racy car. I'd rather drive a Benz. I'd rather have a Porsche. I'd rather have a machine that's engineered by somebody who knows what they're doing. That's what I liked about SteelSeries. And when in the next video you see, he's going to talk about everything that goes into making the Spectrum series of headsets for the Xbox. If you don't buy a Spectrum, it's your loss. You'll see that next video. The WOGL. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's the World Online Gaming League. I happen to know the guy who runs it, and to be honest, he's got a great little model. He started out small, Combat Arms, Crossfire. These are not major titles. These are free-to-play titles. And he's really building himself a niche in the marketplace, and I think he's got a smart business plan, and he's being rewarded for it because Intel is going to help them by giving them the new solid-state drives from Intel, the 160 gig ones, the X25Ms, and I think this is great news for them. July 23rd, the first Battlefield Bad Company 2 event registration is going to open. It's a 4v4 league. And it's basically going to be kind of like a season, and they're going to compete for first place, where they can get the solid-state drive, the 160 gigabytes. The second place is going to get the 80 gigabyte, and then the third place will get WOGL premium memberships. And they're going to do Squad Rush as the mode. And for those who don't know, it's run by somebody named Steven Tucker. I thank Steven today because he was the person who really was responsible for getting Mix to Korea, who he's in Korea right now, for a big FIFA event for the Hyundai Champions Series. I think Steven's got the right approach. I think he's very patient. He's very humble. Congratulations to him. It's great to see anybody get product from a sponsor. That's what this is all about. Good job to him. I want to wish Mix safe travels. He's already in Korea. And good luck at the Hyundai Global Championships. I think that's just fantastic.
Big congratulations to Mix. Wish him best of luck there in Korea. With the WGL, though, I think with Battlefield Bad Company 2, great game to pick. It's underrated as a competitive game, I think. And I think when it came out, it really wasn't as thrown out there as a competitive game that would work, especially when Squad Rush was already shown to be a great game type for competitive play. And I've always been a fan of like season competitions, or like CEVO. Intel providing them with the prizes and stuff is a really awesome thing because it shows. Because I mean, when you mentioned before, Jerry, about investors investing in things in competitive gaming may not want to now because of like MLG or whatever the case may be. This right here is a good sign that we're still in it. No other way to explain it. We're still in it.
Battlefield's definitely underrated. I mean, more people should be able to pick it up and play it because it's such a great game. With Intel being a part of this and supplying the drives for prizes is definitely great because these are top-of-the-line drives. You don't know what they are. I mean, you should definitely research it because this is probably the next big thing.
I want to give a huge shout-out to Mix. He's a really good buddy of mine. Mike, best of luck in Korea. You're one of the best FIFA players here in America. I'm sure you're going to do great over there. To also give more credit to Mix, just this past week, he did qualify for the WCG Nationals here in the United States as well. In fact, let me hop over as well to one of our other VV members. Hell Ashes qualified in WCG for the Nationals as well in Guitar Hero. So congratulations, VV, doing big things this week. As always, great job, guys.
If you guys don't mind, I want to talk about the League of Legends tournament. We had a Han tournament here, and this is in the same genre of game. And to be honest, I didn't think League of Legends was the game of choice, meaning it's kind of a little bit of an easy mode compared to Han. But when you're going to put $100,000 down on a game, I can raise my hand and say, I'm wrong. Doesn't matter if it's easy mode. Here's the thing. They're going to conclude their first season with the $100,000 grand final with the best teams from all over the world. So all the teams are going to compete in sort of a local online circuit, and they're going to also have these like global events. And at the end of each event, top placing teams are going to get cash and prizes, and then they're going to earn some ranking points that establish them the best in their region. What we've got going on here is something that's absolutely in many ways fantastic. If you're going to put money behind whatever you're doing, that's what we have to support. And I'm a big fan of anybody who says, look, we've put a game out. And to be honest, a little inside information. Someone who formerly used to work at Steelseries left Steelseries to go take a job at Riot Games. I know him to be a real competitor. And just in sort of conversation, we were talking. And then now it has come full circle, and I understand why he left for Riot Games. Because primarily this is a good opportunity. When a company can put $100,000 behind a game, it may be easy mode, but it's going to be popular and people are going to compete. If you have not checked out League of Legends, you should. Here's the big catch. It's free. That's right. League of Legends is free. You can play the game for free. Now, the way they make money is by basically purchases you can make in-game. But as far as figuring out if you understand what this genre of game is like, and it's much more complex than you may assume, go play League of Legends. We have a vent channel for it. We've got players who play League of Legends. You can get a great introduction to the game. Craft Dinner, VV Spylock, VV Shadows Crush, they all know and play League of Legends. Talk to them.
I think it's really interesting how much is being put behind a free game. Really neat. And in fact, you actually can pay for the game if you would like, because if you pay for the game, you actually get more content right off the bat than someone who downloads it for free. Now, that's not to say if you play the free version of the game, you won't be able to access the content. Oh, no. The way the game works is really cool. You actually level up from the amount of games that you've played. You gain access to new characters to play. It's a really neat model, the fact that you can pay if you'd like to, but even if you don't want to, you still can play for free and have access to a chance to win a huge prize pool of money. Bravo to Riot Games for doing this, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see how the League of Legends versus Heroes of New Earth, if the communities will clash at all, if one game's going to get bigger than the other. Both seem to be serving different communities. I'm very interested to see how this plays out in the future.
I'm interested to see how this turns out too. For them to put $100,000 at the grand finals is big, but they don't talk about it too much about season one. They only give like 2 paragraphs. So they talk about these local and global events, but what does that exactly mean? Where are these events going to be held? Without sponsors, this is going to be tough for people to show up. And if it's a must where they have to show up in order to qualify, what are the odds that it's going to be worth it? Because, plane tickets to overseas from the United States can be thousands of dollars. Who knows if people are really going to be that interested in playing this game and trying to win that $100,000.
Just being an outsider on it, because these kind of games I really don't play, $100,000 in a free game is definitely big. You guys, took the words right out of my mouth. Is it going to work? It almost seems like we're missing something here. Like, all right, it's $100,000, it's free. Is there a catch? I don't know. I mean, it seems really good. It's not like something I would, just sort of like be skeptical about because, sometimes things are just good and it's great. So I definitely suggest everyone gets into it because I definitely plan to if I can. I hope that it's as good as it seems to be. I hope there's nothing that gets wrong with it. I hope there's nothing that sort of like spoils it all. It's just be great how it is. It seems like it's going to be a really great package and a great competition. I hope everyone tries it. But I hope in the end that it's actually what it's advertising itself to be.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think Riot Games has done it right from the beginning. I follow their development, and back in, I think it was last year, they actually did something that I thought was really, really fantastic. They had this like Dota roundtable where they took sort of I don't want to say the best, but let's say at least the most influential Dota players in North America. And they kind of brought them out to the companies located out in California. I think it's in Culver City, California. They brought them out and they had this roundtable to really talk about what they wanted. And, we'd always sort of known about League of Legends, but I thought maybe the easy mode would turn competitive players off. But you know what? When you put $100,000 behind a game, it's really hard to argue. Like at that point to me, for those people that want competition and recognition and want to go for something, this is one of those opportunities. At a certain level, like I said, out of the box, I like Ton more, but I'm not going to be right about everything.
Well, you got to remember also, and this is really interesting, both Ginsu and Pendragon, two of the people who were key creative minds behind the creation of Dota, Defense of the Ancients, Warcraft 3, the original, I guess you could say, MOBA sensation that blew up when the game first hit BattleNet back in the day. They are helping to create and work on League of Legends. So they've got some really influential minds helping out in the creation of this game and the maintenance of this game, the balancing. I don't really think we should underestimate what this team is capable of doing, because with people like what they have currently on staff, this game, and especially with $100,000 as a prize pool, this game is going to continue to grow in esports.
I think you're right to a certain degree. I mean, I think it was back in February they had surpassed 1 million downloads. Not that they didn't really tell us where it was going to end up. I think they've done everything right. They went from that, then, at the beginning of the month, WCG said they're going to pick it up as a promotional title. And then, bam, they have Season 1, which is going to conclude with $100,000. I'm telling you, there are a lot of players out there who are looking for a game to play. If you want to compete, I think League of Legends is one of those titles that you absolutely should pursue.
And don't just play because there's a big prize pool either. It's actually a really good game. The game has received Gamer's Choice Awards from GameSpy for PC Game of the Year. PC Gamer voted it Dota Style Game of the Year. A couple other sites have given it really good awards too. So lots of fun. Definitely recommend picking it up. What have you got to lose? It's free.
I was just thinking as we were talking about Riot Games, I don't know if you guys caught that StarCraft, Blizzard announced that it cost $100 million to develop StarCraft. I knew there'd be a day that video games would rival movies. The question that I think I really have more than anything, and this is going to be one of those that will haunt me for some time, what did you do to spend $100 million?
Well, let's be honest here. Making a sequel to one of the greatest RTS games of all time, if not the greatest, is going to be very difficult. I mean, the game is basically a national sport in Korea. Making a game that is just as balanced, that is going to be well accepted as a sequel, is nothing short of an extraordinary feat. This game has so much hype behind it that they had to develop and spend as much as they could to make sure that this game was going to be a success. I'm all for it because I think they're going to see a huge return on investment for it. And StarCraft has been around for, 12 years now? Since 98, I believe. If StarCraft 2 is going to have just as much life, then $100 million is a shot in the bucket for what they're going to see on their return. I think that it was completely justified.
I really hope a lot of that money didn't go into advertising. I saw a commercial on TV today, and all I got from it, if I didn't know any better, it was that it was a first-person shooter. So thankfully I know more about it, but it has to be good. You put that much money into it, I hope they didn't just throw it out the window because they thought it was fun to throw money and stuff. It better be good. There's no reason for it not to be. They know what they're doing, hopefully.
All right, Rapture, hold on a minute there. First of all, you revealed how young you are. Like to say I saw a commercial about StarCraft 2 and I thought it was a first-person shooter. No, I want to make a point of this. I'm not really picking on you. A lot of gamers sometimes forget that there's a whole new generation of gamers who's never heard of StarCraft or really know much about it, which is actually kind of cool in the way that you get to see a fresh set of eyes on it. But so that $100 million did not include advertising. That's production costs.
Now, what I'm saying is that when I saw the commercial, there was nothing on that commercial that, if I didn't know any better, told me this is an RTS. All I saw were some dragons flying around and this guy in a big metal suit looked like he just came from the WWE with the cigar and something, shooting at them and all that. And then there was a girl that jumped and then it was StarCraft 2. I don't know. It should be good. I think so.
Well, you know what? Even if you're not into typical RTS games, this game is still going to be a game that everyone should pick up. Because if you have not seen what the StarCraft 2 map editor is capable of doing, you are missing out. This game is so incredible. As Blizzard games have evolved, obviously the map editors have given birth to things like Dota, where people can create their own games within this game. the StarCraft 2 map editor takes it way above and beyond. You can actually create entirely new genres of games than what StarCraft 2 currently is. You can create first-person shooters in the game, so yeah, maybe you could see that. They did a tech demo last year that showed basically the canceled StarCraft Ghost, but in StarCraft 2, where you could take control of a ghost, move it around, shoot first-person shooter style. You can do overhead shooters. There are new ways that you will be able to play this game, and people that like to create, like people that are fans of Little Big Planet, can pick this up, make their own versions of whatever game they want. So budding game developers can use StarCraft 2 as a platform, and people that just want to have fun, people that love tower defense, things of that nature. It's endless possibilities, endless fun. StarCraft 2 for the win. 27th of July. Cannot wait.
A theme of this show has been money. We've talked about MLG having money problems, things like this. Let's start with a little bit of good money news, and this is to the Ukrainian team, Na'Vi. Congratulations on winning Arbalest. I think that's fantastic. I think it's great that they got to come to Dallas. They came to the U.S., and they won. I think the Germans at Mouse Sports took second. Did we come in third? Is that where we came in? I don't know. I say we. I meant the Americans. I think EG came in third.
Yeah, they took $10,000 in third place.
Well, that's good. That's not too bad. But yeah, speaking of that, I also heard that even though they won $10,000, EG is not going to the Intel Extreme Masters Shanghai. I guess they just said they're not going, but nobody knows why. I asked around to see if anybody would know. I didn't get too much info on that. A lot of people suspect money issues, though. That's what I've heard. Or the other option is team problems with EG's team. I mean, let's face facts. They're not known to be consistent.
Yeah, it's really strange because all the news reports that have come out say, for no apparent reason, they pulled out at the Intel Extreme Masters. Very strange. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a little bit of an explanation here over the next few days. Let's cross our fingers because, yet again, very strange activity on EG's part.
Well, usually when it comes to teams not attending events, it usually has something to do with money more than problems with players. I mean, a lot of times teams can just either deal with the problems or work it out. This kind of sounds like a situation where either they're losing their sponsor or they don't have the money to actually go.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. To be honest, you guys know I'm not, 1.6 never excites me. I mean, the only interesting thing here is Go Na'Vi. That's the only thing I think that's really, really cool. But outside of that, this money thing doesn't just exist here. Like, Jason and I were talking about this earlier, which I want to bring you guys into. We were talking about how Fnatic got disqualified from the World Cyber Games Nordic qualifier.
Oh, Jesus.
Right?
Ooh.
Jason, I know you got a lot to say, so I'll let you go first.
I just don't understand how a team can be so cocky from what I've just seen. Because, let's face facts, yeah, Fnatic has a wonderful team. They're absolutely talented. But to bitch about not possibly being able to get a paid trip to the World Finals just because there's only one Nordic paid spot. And I guess we should give a little bit of background here because what has happened is that the Nordic qualifier is going on and there are 6 teams involved, but only one is going to be given a spot that is paid to LA for the World Finals. So Fnatic, they basically gave an ultimatum that said, well, either we're going to get this paid spot or we're not going to play in the qualifier. That just, it's so cocky to me. It honestly leaves me speechless. Are they just too good to play in a qualifier? Do they feel like they have nothing to prove? They're already the best? That makes me scratch my head.
It's ego. What I don't understand is they at first protest that there should be more paid spots, and then automatically it goes to them like, oh, well, you know what? If that doesn't happen, you have to give us a way to go for free, or we're just not going to play. And WCG was, well, you know what? All right, well, you're just not going to play then. As much as people want to see Fnatic there, they're a great team. Come on. I mean, really? Like, that's what they're complaining about. And, I mean, if they're that good, they should be able to win and then take that money and go. So I don't understand.
And again, I think you guys are right. But at the same time, you know what? This is the problem with European esports, the whole system. First of all, how about thank you, World Cyber Games? How about thank you? How about just start there? Thank you for holding this event every year. Thank you for doing all of this hard work. Thank you for running an event that allows us to sit on our asses and play fucking Counter-Strike and have a chance to go. But then this entire, and then of course, you know, the fans, this bullshit of, yeah, if you're supposed to be like the Olympics, you should have a qualifier from every country. Well, esports just isn't there yet, is it? So what you should do, fans, is you should tell your little teammates at Fnatic, your friends, you should say, you know what? You need to shove this up your ass. Sit down, play the fucking game, and don't get political. To be honest, I thought Fnatic's new website, if you guys haven't seen it, looks really good. I thought they did a great job there. Congratulations. Not really to Fnatic, it's to the people who designed the website. I really should give them the plug. Evisua, I think it is the name of the company that built it. For those of you that want to look, it's evisua.com. I think they're a UK company. Good job. But really? Really, this is your thing? And, if you look at Fnatic's story, it's like, oh, we boycotted it. Oh, aren't you tough? Oh, aren't you good? You boycotted the World Cyber Games. You showed them, did you? Now, this is the exact kind of crap. That whole community needs a gutting. This is why, like Navi, they haven't run to like some big SK or big Fnatic or try to be with, they're just doing their thing and winning. Oh, I wish there were more teams like that. But to the rest of them, like, you know what? Don't go. Stay at home. And hats off to the World Cyber Games for just saying, you know what, you're out of here. Like, I give the World Cyber Games a mega props. Tell them, you know what, we don't need you. Take your toys, go home. Nobody wants you. Fnatic's demand was crap. That's my opinion.
Oh, here's something else for you. If Fnatic is supposed to be this huge organization that sends people everywhere in the world to play these games, why is it that they're complaining that they aren't getting this for free? I'm assuming that the money means that much. Is that what it is? They have these large sponsors. I know that they, have MSI Notebook as a sponsor, things of that nature. So are the sponsors just not wanting to pay for them for this large world final by WCG in LA? So they have to complain about not getting this free position. Are they afraid that they're going to lose? Are they not certain in their skills? Because aren't they already qualified for the World Finals? Didn't they already qualify for that? Isn't this just to see who gets the paid position?
Jason, you're right. WCG said 2 from Sweden, 2 from Norway, 2 in Finland. All those involved in the tournament will be given a place at the WCG Finals, but only the winner of the Nordic qualifier will have paid expenses to LA. That's what they said. For Fnatic to make this demand, you know what? I wonder if again, you talked about their sponsors. I wonder if this isn't about money. You know what? The cracks are starting to show in these organizations. Those old days are gone, and they're going quickly. And people are looking to new games and new titles. And I'm starting to have the impression that, you know what? Maybe there's a good reason why EG can't go to the Intel Extreme Masters. Maybe there's a good reason that Fnatic demanded this spot. Maybe it's just because they don't have the money. And for Fnatic, it would be embarrassing if they didn't get the first place spot, and then they would have to confess that they can't go, and they'd have to make up a reason. So maybe it's a little pre-damage control. Oh, and I can hear it now. Our critics are going to say, oh, you guys are speculating. Yeah, well, if you know the actual answer and you've got proof for it, go right ahead. But for me, I'm going to keep speculating, because where there's smoke, there's fire.
Well, what I think is, I don't think it comes down to Fnatic needing the money. I think it's because, you're supposed to be the best team already or one of the top. And you're sitting here complaining that you're not going to get an all-expense paid trip. Well, whatever. You go, you battle for it, and, odds are you might win anyway. And if not, oh well, you have a sponsor with enough money to cover you to go over. I'm sure Fnatic's got money. They send Halo teams over to MLG all the time for a league that's pretty bad. I'm not going to lie.
Well, but to be honest, though, I wouldn't their teams are pretty bad. I think MLG does do Halo well, to be fair. I think so. But go ahead.
Yeah, but it sounds like to me, I think from their point of view now is the way I see it is that Fnatic's going to come to them, the owners of Fnatic come to them and say, what the hell are you doing? Why are you boycotting this? If you don't get an all-expense paid trip, we'll just cover it. That's probably what Fnatic's going to end up saying. It's the WCG Grand Finals. It means a little more than MLG, honestly, in the long run. So I'm pretty sure that they would dish out the money to have their team go play in the LA Finals. This is just them being stupid, not thinking straight.
I found it really funny, by the way, in the midst of, oh, we're not going to WCG, whatever the case may be, they still have to attend one more tournament this year, so their season for the summer is going to be very busy for them. Really, as much as everyone likes to go to tournaments and stuff, are you really that busy? Is WCG just another tournament? It's the World Cyber Games, that should be a big priority considering how much of an important gaming competition it is. And it's oh, it's just another tournament. We're just going to go to something else.
If you look at it from their perspective, I guess they're making some stand. But, to be honest, it's one of those things that whatever the case, like it becomes one of those where, imagine, if you will, that the United States at the Olympics said, you know what, we are this large nation, and I think it's no longer fair that only so many U.S. players should be there. So we want to divide the United States up into our 50 states, and we think you should have, at least 8 or 10 from each of these states. No offense to my Scandinavian brethren out there, but the World Cyber Games, as I stated earlier, they've got a budget. I remember when Mix wanted to go, when he got edged out but couldn't make China, they would have let him go, but they only had one paid spot for China. Now, fortunately for Mix, and unfortunately for the person who qualified, he had a visa problem and couldn't get to China, so Mix went instead and got the paid spot. That's just the business. You didn't see VV Gaming protesting or crying or doing all of this because Mix wasn't going to go. This is exactly the kind of crap that hurts gaming, is this ego-driven, like, I swear North America really needs to take charge. We need to get rid of this crap, because this is exactly why when you look at European esports, I just shake my head, because it's so short-sighted. Doesn't really understand that, things are going to change. I guess at the end, I'm just sad that Fnatic did this. I mean, if it's ego, it's really sad. If it's money, I guess maybe they just don't want to admit it, because let's face facts, a large part of this is ego, and everyone likes to pretend that they have $5,000 contracts that make $60,000 a year per player, and they're also rich. I don't know. I call bullshit on the whole thing. This is really our last topic, because this show has been chock full. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. One thing about Arbalest in Dallas, that's all I'm going to say. If you have not had an opportunity to go to hltv.org and look at the video for the closing quote-unquote ceremony, look, I'm a big fan of, Pokemon as an example, something that, has events and stuff and people come to.
Gotta catch 'em all!
Gotta catch up!
Pokemon!
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate that. That was beautiful. But really, come on. Isn't this what Slingblade Slasher himself there, Monkey, said, we're going to show you in Dallas, Arbalest Cup is going to be bigger than any MLG event? I don't know about you, but that looked like a high school stage. And I was watching a friggin' talent show from 1990s, what is this?
Hey, they had 2 babes on the left. Bounces out. I mean, still, no one has beaten Pokemon yet. MLG has beaten it. Arbalest High School Conference hasn't beaten it yet. So many people at Meadowlands that we filled it, and people had to leave. That's how big it was. I don't know. Slasher said it was good. Slasher, you find me an event that's bigger than Pokemon, and I will listen to anything you say with 100% confidence. Because there were so many people there that they had the fire marshal telling people to leave when they lost because there were so many people crowding around you couldn't hear yourself think. It's craziness, Pokemon. Fuck yeah.
No, seriously though, I watched the video of the Arbalest presentation of the checks, and I honestly felt like I was back at a high school dance and there was a disco song playing or something because of the strobe lights in the background, and it felt so cheesy, and I was left scratching my head, shaking, going, what is this? I don't understand.
I want to be honest with you. I love ESCA. I like Craig. I met Craig, I think, in New York. Craig Levine. And again, I'm not even, I think, Alexei Kolesnikov. I mean, Lex and Torval, who are the people talking. I like them. I really do. And I think it's great that they had this. Again, it's great that they got the money for this. I think Arbalest's trying to do some great things. Yay, Counter-Strike. But really, Slingblade, this bigger than MLG. You're right. We don't have fucking confetti falling from the ceiling at MLG. Or at least we didn't this year. But yeah, I don't want to, pick on Arbalest. That's not my intention. But the real thing is, sorry, Charlie. Once again, I remind you, go to an MLG event before you open your mouth. Because Slingblade is a much better description.
Slasher, the high school I went to, I mean, they usually do events in the gym. I'm sure they can let you guys in for at least one of these Arbalest Cups. I can give you the phone number. Give me a call.
We had so many Pokemon players that there was someone that was freaking out and having a seizure or something. I didn't see a seizure there. That is bullshit.
Rapture, I know. Pokemon to you is like the Beatles in the 60s. You're very special.
Pokemon is awesome. I mean, think about it. First of all, 768 entrants per qualifier. The MLG can't do that. They can't even do that. They can't do that. And then they had nationals at Indianapolis. Plus, their qualifiers in the rest of the world. Then the World Championships in Hawaii coming up at the end of August. I mean, that's huge. Tell me, can you do that? Can you have something like that with the World Championships in August? If you can do that, I'll take everything back I said, everything. But
you're so special. Really, we didn't think you'd all give messages to Slasher, but you know what? Sling Blade's probably lonely since DJ Wheat's been having a lot of problems. So hopefully they'll get their show back on track and they'll be able to come up and talk, and Slash will give another one of his eloquent, brilliant responses, which I look forward to Sling Blade's attack. I really do.
Well, that brings us to the end of the show. So obviously we have to give big thanks to the Gamers Garage, especially Crash, for hosting the show, because that's how we do our stuff. Thanks for VVV sponsors for being awesome, like SteelSeries, ControlFreakMusicFins.com, and Custom Ink. Those guys are awesome. And then obviously the VVV community for their feedback and support. Stop over at thegamersgarage.com, where you can always find all the other ways to follow us, including Facebook, MySpace, and Twitter. Hit those things up, 21st Central, you know what it is. As well as listen to the other great podcasts at thegamersgarage.com. And you can leave us feedback by calling our voicemail at 206-350-7352 or our email at mailbag@thegamersgarage.com. Bitch.
Wow. Well, hey, listen, I want to give a shout-out to Jedi Rob. He sent me a thank you card for the support of Devastation. Outside of our great conversation about Arizona immigrants, I want to thank Rob for the thank you card. You're a classy individual, sir, and I love your clothes.
I want to give a shout out to Rapture's Otter.
I love my otter. I want to give a shout out to Will, aka Broccoli Kong, probably the best sticky man out there, and I've learned a lot of stuff from him recently. He's really cool. He's running a lot of tournaments like Haters Gonna Hate, and I think he's running another tournament in Long Island coming up this month, so try and check it out. Get more information on it. He's a great player. I want to give a shout out to him because he's awesome, and I like his DK tie.
I was just
I want to
kidding
give a
about the
shout out
shout
to everyone on the
Damn
show. God damn it.
Hey, Rapture. I was just kidding about the shout out to your otter.
I hate you. Like, I really do.
He doesn't even have an otter. Fuck you. Fuck you and your fucking make.
No, I'm going to get an
What
otter.
the fuck is wrong with you that you have a make-believe otter?
I don't have a
What kind of
make-believe
freak kid
I
are
don't
you?
have a make-believe otter. He said, shout out to Rapture's otter. I never once said personally, I have an otter. I said otters are cute. I never took an otter and say, hey, I'm going to make you yours, and then put him in a bathtub. Like, hey, fuck around with the fucking soap and shit.
You know what
I
the
didn't do
fucking
that.
problem is, Rapture? You know what the problem is? Is as soon as he said, I take back my shout out to your otter, you went, aw. So now you're telling me you went aw to a make-believe otter that doesn't exist. You see the fucking problem there, Rapture? Why don't you let fucking Spike Mouth finish his damn shout out and don't talk
He's
about
the
your
one
fucking...
He's the one
No.
who interrupted him.
No,
you said
because
I
he
wasn't
wanted
gonna
to clear
kill
the
you.
record to indicate that he doesn't believe in your fucking make-believe otter. Nobody gives a shit about your otter.
But wait, if it's imaginary, and you said last week that I'm not a real human being, so that doesn't that work?
I never said you're not a real human being.
Yes, you did.
I
Back
suspected.
last week, and you said you're not even a real human being.
You know what?
Listen
The
to
problem
it.
here is...
Everybody listen, whoever's listening to this, go listen to it.
I think the problem is that Crash, who has his fucking Lloyd the Lizard, I think you're jealous of Lloyd the Lizard.
Lloyd the Lizard was in the middle of like a window pane. He has nothing on Imaginary Otter. Imaginary Otter is dressed like Batman.
You've got so many problems. Justin, take it away.
All right, I'd like to give a shout out to everyone on the show, the listeners, and the VVV community. And one final thing, still no MLG team, but I'll talk about that in the future.
Justin sounded so shocked that he actually was going to be able to speak after that long, arduous rant from Dakota.
All right, and legitimate shout out.
Bah!
Everyone, by the way, who's listening, go back last week, and listen to what he said. You will hear exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, shut up.
You will hear what I'm talking about.
Shut your
Tell
You're
Jerry.
like one of those actors on an old vaudeville stage that they actually made those big canes for so they can just sort of like put them off stage. That's what you are, Rapture. You're like, you make that kind of television special. That's what you are.
You know what I did today? I played Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and all day, well, not all day, I was doing other stuff, but when I was playing it, I was playing as one of my characters was the Juggernaut, and I just kept yelling, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch, at my cat, and it was like looking at me like it understood what I was saying, but like, fuck you. You know, like, 'cause cats are evil, I think. But the Juggernaut's awesome, and I had this like really like weird thing for like the Juggernaut, so I started like watching YouTube videos and stuff, and I think we need like a Juggernaut guy who like shows up and just yells at and like breaks through the wall like the Kool-Aid Man, like, oh yeah! And then like just sort of leaves, and like that's what we can talk about for like 5 minutes, and then we sort of like forget about it.
You
I feel
know,
bad for your make-believe girlfriend.
every time I hear Rapture talk, I swear I hear Yakety Sax start playing in the background, and I see him just dancing around.
No, I've been listening to a lot of Phil Collins lately, as you guys know. And
That's so... You know what? I'm out of here. I'm going to go play Ion. That's it. I'm going to play Ion.
you would go play Ion. You would go play Ion.
I'm going to go play Ion.
Yeah. Good. Go play Ion.
I
hope your character dies.
You know what? But the nice part about it'll get resurrected. Unlike your fucking
it doesn't
Otter when we finally choke the shit.
He doesn't die. He doesn't die. Batman doesn't die, so he doesn't die.
Have a good week, guys. Take care.